Hello there. Welcome to the Harley Carnes podcast, Harley on the headlines. Let's take a look at some of the stories of today. All right. Hope you'll stay with us, and got some pretty good stuff coming up. And invite others to join us, at least for the future, you know. Hit the like, the follow, the subscribe buttons, and it'll help a lot. Here's an interesting political development in the Iran war. 4 Republicans joined all of the Democrats to vote in favor of a war powers resolution which says the president can only involve troops in conflict in Iran if Congress says so. The White House disagrees with that because presidents have always been able to commit troops to battle for at least 90 days without going to Congress first. Obama did it, Clinton did it, and on goes the list. Still, it is interesting because even if the Senate follows suit, President Trump will veto it, and there's no way the Senate could muster up 2/3 of its members to override that veto. So here's my question. The members of the House and the Senate are expected to represent the people in their state or district. Does that resolution reflect the actual will of the people of America, or is it actually a reflection of party politics, ignoring what the people actually think about the situation in Iran? It's an open question. I'm not trying to answer it just by asking it, you know. What the people think can be difficult to ascertain with certitude. There are polling agencies, but so many of them are driven by politics and are run by people who know how to pose questions that produce answers they want. It's been difficult to maintain trust in their so-called findings. I say that because, for example, so many polls have proven so wrong on election days. They fail time and time again to get an accurate measure of what people think and want. Now, part of that is because we don't trust them. We either don't talk to them or just go along so they'll leave us alone. Talk to an honest pollster and they'll tell you that is a problem. A new example. To hear the media relate to it, you would think Americans have increasingly warmed to the, again, so-called transsexual rights way of thinking. In fact, a new poll, a Gallup poll, if you trust it, shows public support for the trans movement is down, and down substantially. For that matter, support for same-sex marriage is sagging. It was 71% in 2023, 65% now. A 10% drop is a big one in just 3 years. Now, that's either because opinions have actually changed, or the polls taken during the Biden years were misleading and skewed politically. I cannot say which is the case because I don't know. I can say that the drop is the most pronounced among Republicans and independents, with Democrats holding strong for the LGBTQ, et cetera, crowd. It could be that Republicans and independents have always felt the way they're showing up now, but just didn't say it to pollsters. Maybe, with Trump in power, they feel empowered to tell the truth about how they feel. Now, it's my opinion that people are not as willy-nilly, as changeable as the political winds as the polls make them seem. We tend to be who we are, and we believe what we believe, no matter who's in office in Washington. I mean, really, if it weren't for people like me, if it weren't for the news media, how often do you think you would think about the people in Washington and what they're up to? You don't give a shit, really. Whether we feel free to say it out loud or not may be what really is being measured. Politicians, on the other hand, have spines made of tofu for the most part, easily bent by the winds of the moment. Their gauge is based mostly in political self-preservation and money from lobbyists, which moves their needle, rather than the principles actually held by the people who they represent. There is an increasingly hot debate about American citizenship as the nation's birthday approaches. President Trump says some naturalized citizens ought to be stripped of that privilege because they lied. In fact, when a foreigner comes to the U.S., goes through the green card process, and ultimately becomes a citizen, they take an oath and they make some promises. If they don't tell the truth during that process, if they hide facts about who they are, where their allegiances lie, if they fail to divulge criminal conduct or other material facts, the rules say you can lose your citizenship because you shouldn't have been approved in the first place. President Trump says when such cases come to light now, action will be taken. Now, this is obviously a big deal for those people. Some are undoubtedly unsavory foreign actors who should not be citizens because their pledge of allegiance to the U.S. of A., so help me God, was a lie. It's a big deal for others who could have a question mark arise and who have forged lives in this country, raised families in this country, brought kids into this country. So, yeah, it is hotly controversial, and it's always political. Some Democrats, like Senator Mazie Hirono of Hawaii, say it ought to be unconstitutional. But that statement recognizes that it is constitutional to strip the citizenship of an un-American imposter. She just has no confidence that the standard will be fairly applied. Until now, it is a standard that was almost never applied. Stay tuned. There will be more hubbub on this, you can bet. Now listen to this. It might make some sense to fill your freezer now with good beef before the prices spike. Prices can have what I think of as a headlines spike, an excuse to raise prices, not related to actual shortage or emergency, but related to headlines about the potential. That headline is here, and it comes to us from Mexico. This video from Reuters.
The United States has confirmed the case of New World screwworm in Texas cattle, raising alarm for the country's livestock industry. The parasitic fly lays eggs in open wounds, its larvae burrowing into living tissue, causing severe damage and, if untreated, death. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says the infestation was found in a calf near the U.S.-Mexico border. It marks the first confirmed case in Texas since 1966, and a major concern for ranchers as the pest has steadily moved north through Mexico. Authorities are moving quickly, imposing quarantines, increasing surveillance, and treating livestock in affected areas. Officials are also expanding outreach and distributing treatments to stop the spread. Screwworms most often enter through wounds and can affect livestock, wildlife, pets, and in rare cases, people.
This is not an automatic catastrophe in the making. It's not a virus that spreads automatically through the herd or a disease like foot and mouth. But it is a problem because cattle get scratches, minor wounds all the time, just from spending so much time outside. And wherever you find cattle, you do find flies. He may have been CBS TV News' most anti-Trump personage, and he wore it on his sleeve. Past tense, because 60 Minutes anchor Scott Pelley got himself fired from CBS after 37 years there. He went off on the new executive producer of the show publicly, and no one, not even Pelley, can attack the boss in front of the whole world and keep his job. Even worse for him, the firing was for cause. That little phrase means his goodbye will not exactly be lined in the usual velvet, gold, and silver. He got a little too big for his britches and seems to have appointed himself an arbiter of what is and isn't the soul of journalism. What is sad is he sullies the reputation of 60 Minutes, the greatest news magazine show on television. It's pretty sad because whether you agree or disagree with the message of his diatribe, he just forgot that he was being paid a fortune to play well in someone else's sandbox. What's even worse are some of the claims he made after he was fired. This is distinctly not journalistic. He said, and this is a quote, I have been in combat in Afghanistan. I have been in combat in Iraq. I've been in the war zone in Ukraine multiple times, risking my life, yada, 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 because of my devotion to the broadcast. It's insulting for him to claim to have been in combat. He never even served in the military. He visited war zones as a reporter, rear echelon, all the way. He never pointed a gun at anyone who was shooting at him. He forgot what is true about every one of us who ever covered anything. We reporters tend to live vicariously through the lives of others. We may stand close to them for a short while, but we are observers. We don't transform into anything else. Scott, I am disappointed in you. I thought you were someone else. I did. There is some good news about the economy. U.S. job openings went up to a 2-year high in April, and that while making unemployment look worse, does it for the best of reasons. There are more new jobs available, job gains in excess of 100,000 for the month. Analysts say it's an indication of a stronger economy with jobs numbers firming up. Hiring actually went down a little bit, but applications for unemployment benefits, the primary measure of the jobless rate, is at historically low levels and holding steady at about 4% overall. 3 cheers for the passengers of a Frontier Airlines flight, and one of them in particular. It was a flight from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Chicago, and it was diverted to Miami when one of the passengers lost his mind. About 45 minutes into the flight, Juan Gabriel Reyes allegedly choked a flight attendant who was off duty at the time. And then he tried to open the cabin door in mid-flight. Multiple times he tried. Well, physically you can't do that because the inside of the cabin is pressurized and it holds the door very firmly in place. You'd have to be the Hulk to open that door. Reyes is not the Hulk. He was tackled to the floor and held by one passenger who had no interest in watching him try and had the jiu-jitsu skills to do the job. Josh Longgood said it was like holding a kid down who was throwing a tantrum. Meanwhile, police came and got Reyes after they landed in Miami, who went to jail, could wind up sentenced to 20 years in prison for causing the disturbance and threatening everyone on board. Guess that'll do it. I want to thank you for dropping in, for tuning in today. I hope you'll come back, bring some folks with you. You know, you give me a little bit of your time, and I know time is precious. I appreciate you doing that. We're also on Spotify, video, audio, X, Facebook. I'm Harley Carnes. Until next time, do yourself a favor. Make some good, conscious choices in your life today. Make a decision to be happy and fly safe. It's the only way to get there.